gather round, and let your ears drink in the words I share, for I am a griot, a keeper of stories. And the tale I tell tonight is woven from the threads of courage and the whispers of the wind. It is the story of a girl named Amina, and a village that had forgotten the sound of its own voice. In a village nestled by the great baobab tree, a place where the sun blessed the earth with golden light, a shadow began to grow. This was no ordinary shadow, cast by the moon or the trees. It was a creature born of silence, a beast that fed on unspoken words and ignored injustices. The villagers called it the Thunzi, the shadow that eats truth. At first, it was small. A disagreement over a harvest share, a hurtful word left to hang in the air, a small unfairness that everyone saw but no one spoke of. With each act of silence, the Thunzi grew stronger, darker. It crept into the market, its tendrils wrapping around the stalls. Prices would change without reason, and the merchants, their faces drawn, would only shrug. No one dared to question it. The silence was a heavy blanket, suffocating the once vibrant spirit of the people. The elders, who once settled disputes with wisdom, now looked away. The warriors, whose bravery was sung in epics, now held their tongues. The Thunzi had grown vast, a silent king ruling from the corners of their eyes. It thrived in the quiet fear, in the belief that one person's voice was too small to make a difference. But in this village lived a young girl named Amina. She was not the strongest, nor the wealthiest. What she had was a heart that beat in rhythm with the truth, and eyes that saw the world not just as it was, but as it should be. She saw the farmer who toiled all day, only to have his best yams taken by the shadow's unseen hand. She heard the weaver's silent sob as the beautiful cloth she made was declared flawed, its value stolen by a whisper of the Thunzi, Nina's grandmother. A woman whose eyes held the wisdom of 1,000 moons, saw the fire in the girl's heart. One evening, as the Thunzi's presence made the very air feel cold, she pulled Amina close. "Child," she whispered, her voice like the rustling of dry leaves. "The greatest darkness is not the shadow itself, but the belief that we are powerless against it. A single candle can challenge the night." Those words planted a seed in Amina's soul. The next day, at the market, the shadow's influence was stronger than ever. A man, a friend to Amina's father, was accused of stealing water from the communal well. Everyone knew it was a lie, a fabrication spun by the Thunzi to sow more distrust. The man stood alone, head bowed, the weight of a silent village pressing down on him. Amina watched, her heart pounding like a drum. The fear was a cold knot in her stomach. The silence was deafening. She looked at the faces around her, her neighbors, her friends, and saw their eyes pleading for someone, anyone, to speak. And so, Amina took a breath. A small breath, but it was filled with the fire her grandmother spoke of. She stepped forward. Her voice, when it came, was not a roar. It was clear and steady, like a single drop of rain in a dry riverbed. "This is not right," she said. The market fell utterly still. Not the heavy, fearful silence of the Thunzi, but a new, shocked silence. All eyes turned to this one small girl. The Thunzi seemed to recoil, its form wavering for a moment, as if struck by an unexpected light. The village chief, whose voice had long been muffled by the shadow, looked at Amina. He saw not defiance, but a simple, profound truth. Emboldened, an old woman near the well spoke up. "She is right. I was here all morning." He took no more than his share. Another voice joined in. "I saw it too." And then another, and another. It was a trickle at first, then a stream, and then a river of voices, washing over the marketplace. Each word spoken, each truth acknowledged, was a blow against the Thunzi. The creature writhed. It had grown fat and powerful on their silence, but their words were like burning embers. The darkness began to thin, to dissolve like mist in the morning sun. Amina's one voice had reminded them of the power they all held. They had forgotten that their voices, when joined together, were not just whispers, but a mighty storm. The shadow beast, the Thunzi, let out a silent scream that no one heard but everyone felt. It shrank back, away from the light of their combined courage. It fled from the market, from the homes, from the heart of the village. It did not vanish completely, for shadows will always linger where silence is allowed to fester. But it was broken, weakened, a mere wisp of what it had been. From that day forward, the village was changed. They learned to speak up, not just for the big injustices, but for the small ones too. They understood that keeping the shadow at bay was a daily act of courage, a shared responsibility. When a dispute arose, they discussed it. When someone was wronged, they defended them. And Amina, she was not hailed as a queen or a warrior. She remained Amina, the girl with a heart full of truth. But whenever she spoke, people listened. For she was the one who had taught them the most important lesson of all, that one small voice, speaking a simple truth, can be powerful enough to chase away the darkest of shadows. She was the candle that lit the way for 1,000 others. So remember this tale. Remember Amina and the Thunzi. And when you see a shadow feeding on silence, be it in your village or in your own heart, find your voice. No matter how small you think it is, speak. For a single voice, joined by others, can bring back the light. Thank you for listening to my story. Carry it with you, and let it light your path. Don't forget to follow, so we may share more tales together.